Hello, Internet, and welcome back. This is Phylogenesis here, and I wanted to show you an any percent run I discovered in my Parkour Fervor map version 2. I didn't actually. It doesn't include any skips that I meant to put there, so that's one thing I really like about that. But it also, I would definitely call it an any percent because it's very, very obviously not a proper run through. But that's okay, so I'm going to get right to it. I'm going to do it totally silent just so I can focus on it, and then I'll go explain a couple points of it later at the end. So here it goes. I do always have to reload chunks here for some reason. Perhaps some enterprising and very, very talented speedrunner would deal with that and go through with it while it's invisible until it fixes itself. Boom, and there we go. 3 deaths and 190 ticks, 7 ticks of time, roughly 197 seconds. I don't know how, it's not super accurate to the second, but that is the any percent run. And there was a lot of skipping there. So some of that might have been very obvious to you who know parkour and understand like what was happening with the speed and so forth. But if you wanted an explanation, I'm going to go ahead and go back through it and talk about it. So I've gone into creative mode. First thing I did, which is clearly a cheat, right? It's not really like you haven't really started the map yet, but it's possible to do in the map as originally downloaded. So like most of the things, like it clears your inventory and everything when you hit this, but apparently it doesn't clear your effects. I forgot that. So that's a And again, this was not intentionally put in. I really did try to make everything, like, you notice that there were a lot of sections where the walls were too high. You couldn't have jumped up on your own. But this is something I forgot, and I genuinely forgot it. So I don't want to remove it because I think it's cool to leave stuff in like that for people to find exploits and see what you can do with them. And I don't think it's game breaking, since obviously if you do that, you don't really run the map. So you call that an 80% run instead of a 100% run. So here we go. What we did is we went to the parkour playground, which sets my game mode to adventure. And one tiny thing that I did is, of course, you run over here, you do these jumps, you come up here, and I actually want to skip this checkpoint, which I don't think I used it very effectively, but if you don't touch that checkpoint, you can grab the speed and jump boost and then instant teleport back over to here. So it's just a tiny time saver right there. And then whip around and run over here and hit return. So you come back here, but return doesn't remove those effects. So then I came over here and I did Parkour Fervor. And instead of doing it properly, let's go back into creative mode. Instead of doing it properly, it turns out with the jump boost and the speed boost, they don't last long enough on their own, and they're not very high levels. I think it was like jump boost 2. So, and they don't. I think they were like 30 seconds or so. Let's go check that. So come over here. Let's just give myself the effects. Oh, they do last for 2 minutes. Oh, that's interesting. But there's speed boost 2 and jump boost 2, and I remembered that hurt me. Like, I tried to do it with these, and I wasn't able to do quite what I wanted to do. So what I ended up doing is, let's just come back over here to this. So obviously, right, you would grab those and you would start off and you'd run over and try to do all the skips. And you can get really far, but you can't get quite as far. There's still a lot of the last section you have to do. Like, you can't get all the way to the end right there. So what I did instead was I found out, well, you know what? There was a lot of jump boost and speed boost up here. When you get to this spot, it gives you jump boost. Actually, let me clear the previous effects because it doesn't automatically do that. So when you come here, you get jump boost 3. But if you go a little bit further up to this guy right here, you get jump boost 3 and speed 3 for 2 minutes. So better effects, and it turns out you don't die if you fall down. So you just grab those boosts and then hustle over here, which that was pretty obvious from the run. So I'm just going to fly over here. I tried, and yes, you can get up here, but I think basically this is like as far as I was able to really get with the stuff from the parkour playground directly. Or maybe over to here. There was something you could do here. You can get all the way to here, skip up this. Oh, I think that's what it was. You might have been able to get up to here, but then you have to do then you're basically out at that point. Whereas if you have jump boost 3 and speed 3, you go faster and jump up higher sections. So you're able to get all the way up here, and then not only can you get to here, you can do all the skips on this. Instead of doing all of these sections the normal way, you just blast straight up to the top and across all of them. And then the end you just have to do normally. I've never gotten to this point with anything more than a couple seconds of the boost left. Look, I'm already out. But this modifies your boost anyway, so you just have to do the one last stage, and then you win. And that's the 80%. I hope you found that interesting, and I'd really love to know if anybody else finds out a better skip, or if maybe you're able to do the same thing as I did with the, what do you call it, with just the boost from the parkour playground, or even more interesting if you don't use that boost, if you're able to find some other exploit. Because that's really critical, because if you don't start with that, then you basically have to go through the whole thing, right? You're only able to cheat up to here because you start out with it. So if somebody can find an initial exploit, that would be really interesting to me, I think. And anyway, that's all. Thanks for watching, and have a good night.